The origin of the deck really started with just me opening a Verdant Force from Tempest. And I saw that and I thought that this was the green card that I had been looking for forever. And I started trading for them right away, and they were very easy to trade for because at the time when they released Verdant Force, it generated a token during each player's upkeep, and each player got their own token. And so you it didn't give you any advantage because you'd attack with Verdant Force and they would just block with the token that you had generated for them because green was the color of sharing at the time. And it was like a month later or 2 months later when they decided that they were going to make it so that it only generated the token on the controlling player's side. And by that point, I already had 8 of them and was starting to mess around with the deck. And then the next thing that happened was I was really in love with Lure of Prey, actually. Lure of Prey would allow you to put cast this spell only if an opponent casts a creature spell this turn. You may put a green creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. I mean, as soon as you got to 4 mana, you could play Lure of Prey and cast a Verdant Force, and it was a huge surprise. It was really new for green. So I worked on that for a while, and then Natural Order was printed, and then I just started trying my best to get Verdant Force into play consistently. And sometimes you wouldn't draw one, and sometimes it didn't work out the way that you wanted. And eventually I got it tuned to the point where, with using the Spike Feeders and the Spike Weavers, and with a combination of Wastelands and Gaia's Cradle, that it became competitive. And so the name of the deck came out from the fact that once I had the deck the way that I wanted it, I hadn't printed any tournament reports about it. And I said, I've come up with a deck for green players that is mono green that I think is going to be big. And anybody that wants it, just email it to me. So I got 100 emails the next day from people that wanted a green deck that I had made. And that's where it got the name Secret Force. And from there, I just started to play it in Pro Tour qualifiers. And I think I went to 9 Pro Tour qualifiers in one season playing Secret Force, and I finally won with it. And it was the week before the end of Pro Tour qualifier season. And the next week, I went back down to Boston, and there was like 50 Secret Force decks trying to get into the Pro Tour. I played against Chris Senhouse a number of times, and he always played counter sliver. And he would always make top 8 at these Pro Tour qualifiers with counter sliver, but he never qualified in that entire season. And so I had the Sliver Queen in my sideboard just for him, and I faced him either to get into the top 8 or for the top 8, and I drew the Sliver Queen in my first hand. So it doesn't work unless you can natural order to it. And the Sliver Queen had green in it, so I could natural order to go get the Sliver Queen and use it against Chris, but I drew it in the first thing. But it didn't matter because he got land screwed, and I used Creeping Molds and Wastelands to just deny him of any land, and then Overrun sealed the deal for him. So one of the ways that I built the deck, I'm not a fan of just creature rush or just creature or control or combo or any of that. I really like to try and have a deck that can combat anything. And so a lot of the deck was with Spike Feeders and Spike Weavers, and with land destruction, and with Creeping Mold and Wastelands and Overrun. And so there were multiple avenues of victory to the deck. And one of the greatest additions to the deck, I want to talk about the additions for just a second. One of the greatest additions to the deck was the fact that I've been working on this deck for months, and Alan Webster's down at my house, and we're playtesting, and it is not going well. And he says, you know what this deck needs? This deck needs Wall of Roots. And I was like, no, it doesn't need Wall of Roots. I didn't see the point of that at all. And we played a couple more games, and I'm still getting crushed. And he goes, you know what this deck needs? This deck needs Wall of Roots. And I was just like, all right, fine. I will try anything at this point. And so I tried it the first time, and I went Forest, Elf, and then Gaia's Crata, tap elf for an elf, tap Cradle for Wall of Roots, tap Forest for a Lyrist. It was crazy. But what happened was I learned that using the Wall of Roots and Gaia's Cradle allows you to cast a Verdant Force without having to actually having got Natural Order or the instant that puts him directly into play. Wall of Roots allows you to cast Natural Order on the 3rd turn, even if Burn kills all of your elves. And Wall of Roots allows you to play a Spike Weaver on the 3rd turn and then Fog on your opponent's turn, because it generates another mana for you even after that. And then that was the thing that really kicked it off. And then one other thing is that Eric Taylor, I wanted to give a shout out to him because he's the one that suggested Overrun on Internet Relay Chat. One day I was at work and we were talking about the deck, and Eric Taylor suggested Overrun as another avenue to victory. And so there were a number of times when I won just from the control elements of the deck, either wastelanding their stuff or just doing a fog so that none of their creatures could do any damage to me. Other times it was a victory through Overrun, just with a bunch of either Spike Weavers, Spike Feeders, Llanowar Elves. I had a bunch of weenies in the deck. I also had Octabi Orangutans and Elvish Lyricists in there so that I could, facing off against Pox, I could destroy their racks. I could destroy any enchantments that they got out that were anti-green. It was just really a toolbox kind of a deck. And there were just so many times that I won in so many different ways with it. I can just tell you right now that it was just basically anybody with a Tradewind Rider would beat me. And the shirt that I'm wearing now, Pro Tour Chicago, I faced off against Justin, super handsome guy, blanking on his name, Justin something, in a feature match, and he was playing Tradewind Rider, and I lost to him like 0-3 on that day, because Tradewind Rider is just survival of the fittest, and Tradewind Rider is just absolute kryptonite for that deck. And you would think that it would beat Pox every single time, but because it's just got so much against Pox, and Pox beats me every single time. And Sly is usually pretty easy, but not always. And as far as like High Tide was huge during the time that I was playing this, and High Tide would wreck me unless, of course, I drew a Root Maze and a Choke. And there was literally only one time during a PTQ that I lost with Choke on the board, and every other time that sealed the fate of the High Tide player. So
wow, what a video. I'm definitely going to click like and subscribe. You should too. I'm definitely going to share it with a friend. You should too. I'm definitely going to go buy some merch. You should too. I'm definitely going to go join the Patreon. Just kidding, I already did, but you should join it too. You can see Mike Long's entire interview, which was wild.